Hi, Moms Making Six Figures. I'm excited to share today's podcast with you. I am interviewing for the second time Laurel Hamblin, and you should definitely go back and listen to the original episode because the growth over the last 2 years has been just incredible. She's an amazing businesswoman. She started out as a very young single mom, and her story is incredible, but also just the life lessons that you will take away in listening to how she manages her mindset, how she runs her team, and really how she runs her life. So enjoy today's episode.
Welcome to the Moms Making Six Figures podcast, where it's all about real women, real stories, real inspiration. And now your host and creator of Moms Making Six Figures, Heidi Bartolotta.
Laurel, I am so excited about this interview.
Me too. I'm so excited to be back for it too.
Yes. So I'm going to give a little bit of just introduction. So Laurel and I did an interview a couple of years ago, right when you hit six figures. And I've been watching your journey and watching you progress, and it's been just an amazing journey, and I've loved watching it. So I'm really excited to talk about it. But I do want to start out for our listeners that haven't seen the first episode, and we can caption it in the show notes. But will you give us just a little bit of your background? Because I think for so many people, that is going to be incredibly inspirational. So will you start with where you started?
So I got licensed 2019. I was 19 years old when I got my license. Started out as an assistant, lasted 3 months, and then I hit the ground running as an agent. I was on 2 top teams for 2 years and went solo and started my own business and kind of just never looked back. I have a son named Leo. He's 6. He's the reason why I got into real estate, and I would say the story behind my success. I run a team now. I have a full-time assistant. We're on pace to sell 70 homes this year, and we're very excited. So we're very busy and just really grateful for where we're at.
So one of the things that I love about your story is that you were a teenage mom and you decided that you were going to have a different life. And here we are. I now see, and you're not even nearly at the end of your journey. You're really just getting started. But it's been so fun to watch you progress. So let's talk about, I think one of the things that will be most impactful is to talk about some of the mindset that you have. Because one of the things that you said to me earlier is, here I am, but I knew I was going to be here.
Yeah.
And you really live that way in your life as well as your business, and that's why it's been so successful. So will you talk a little bit about what do you do as maybe someone's listening that, they have big goals, but they don't know how to get to them. What do you do for mindset?
So I would say, I've, over the years, have become more self-aware when it comes to, the things that we listen to, what we watch. I don't own a TV. I actually don't watch TV. Some people find that shocking. I spend my mornings, I would say gym is really important for me when in terms of, starting the day off. Daily routine is something that I've invested into my entire career. If I miss the gym, then I just feel like I have a bad day. So I'd say, your daily, routine and habits will play into your business. I listen to a lot of books, Audible, personal growth, just how can I get to the next step and really who do I need to become in order to get to where I want to be. And I think that, title, if you will, has gotten me, where I am today. It's who do I have to become and what does that look like? And ultimately I would just say you have the decision of, what you want your day to look like and how you're going to show up. And I think that's just really important, the mindset of who are you going to be and how are you going to show up to get to that.
Yeah, one of the quotes that I love is when you own your day, you own your week. When you own your week, you own your month, and then you essentially own your life, right? So it's a really powerful mindset. But you have things that are thrown at you in that. So what is it when you have a deal that doesn't go your way, or a really difficult client, or maybe a difficult personal situation along at the same time that something's happening at work? How do you handle that?
Every day is so different. You're dealing with so many types of personalities, situations. Real estate's a high-stress environment. I think, and I don't want to like get into political stuff, but Donald Trump says the ability to handle pressure is ultimately how you're going to, be successful. And it's like the ability to handle pressure is just going to have to be a new norm. And I think for people that, manage a team and run, businesses, you just have to be able to hold the pressure and be able to navigate accordingly to whatever situation you're going through. So just calm and collected, whatever you're going through, it's not going to last forever. So get into the routine of, just being strong to take on whatever.
Do you have a mantra? Like when things go crazy, do you have something that goes on in your head? Do you say calm and collected? Like,
No,
what do you
I think like I honestly truly believe like I'm built for hard things and I know that I can handle it. And I think it's just preparing me for the next step. It's like more money, more problems. Like you're gonna have different, as you elevate, you're gonna have different problems and they're hard, but they're good. And, other people go through these things too. So I think I'm not alone. And, there's many different business owners that have these struggles. And so it's just like I can handle this and I know I can do it.
I like that, built for hard things. That's a really
Yes.
great quote, actually.
Built for hard things, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true because the more success you have, the more that's piled on, kind of, really. Yeah. But one of the things that you've done, and you've done very intelligently, is you have really great people around you. So talk a little bit about that, because that's definitely a shift from the last time we met. You were really a realtor. You were killing it, but you were a realtor, and now you run a team and you have employees.
Yeah.
How has that changed? There's good and bad in that, I know, but talk a little bit about that.
I personally love kind of being in charge of a team because it holds you to a different level of accountability. You no longer are showing up for yourself. You're responsible for creating the culture and making sure that everything gets done. But if your team is failing, then you have to look inside and think of how am I leading this team and how are we getting to achieve our goals. So it's just another level of accountability for me because we're, in charge of our team and the goal and getting there. So I think that it's just you show up a little bit differently and it's exciting. Obviously there's a lot of things that come with it, but I think it's just really holding you to another level of accountability to show up for your team.
Yeah, and you're responsible for other people's, not lives, but economic lives, kind of, right? Yeah, it's definitely, it takes a special person to do that, I think.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm like, not everybody can handle this, but the fact that I can handle this, like there's a reason and a purpose for that. So it's, maximizing the potential. And I think something that I get excited for is like really, we have a limited amount of time on this earth, and I really want to see what I'm capable of doing, maximizing my potential. So I think that's something I think about, often of what am I capable of accomplishing while I'm here.
So when you were hiring, that was a new experience for you.
Yes.
So did you have any learning moments in that?
When I hired my current assistant, it's because my last one graduated college and moved back to California with her family. I loved her and I wanted her to stay. I actually utilized her as a really important training opportunity when we were hiring on new girls. I wanted her to share, like, what does it look like to work with me? Because obviously she's my right hand. And so she was able to just share, like, this is what I do for Laurel, and, like, these are the things that we do because every single day is so different. And it was honestly a really good opportunity because I got to hear from her experience of how it was working with me and how we're going to use that to hire in our new people. And so it was just really great opportunity to hear how her experience was working with me because I really enjoyed her. But just kind of hiring on like the environment of she gets me and utilizing them to hire on too was really helpful.
It's interesting as I listen to you talk here and just as we've talked outside of this, one of the things that I notice about you is everything is a learning experience for you. So I think it's such a powerful piece for those that are listening to hear that you never phrase anything as a failure. You never phrase anything as like the end. It's always about learning in the next step, which I think really just for me, kind of that's who you are and having watched you over the last few years and in talking to you when I do. And it doesn't shock me that you've had the success that you've had because of that. You're always on to this like next challenge and what can I learn and how can I be better? And it's such a powerful thing. So tell me, what are your goals? Like what? And there's the smile.
I get so excited. I am so excited about life. Like, it's just the ability to really create what our days look like and what we can do. It's exciting for me because I see where we're going, and this doesn't happen by accident. Like, you have to know where you're wanting to go and put a plan into place and actually do the actions to get there. But
I'm going to stop you for a second
Okay.
because one of the things that you haven't said on screen, but you said before when we were talking, is when I'm mentoring someone, if they don't do the work that I gave them, you didn't essentially say they're out, but you basically like, I'm done mentoring them.
Yeah.
And I think it's fun to hear you now talk about the big goals because I know what you hold yourself to in that, listening to the way that you mentor others. So please continue. But it struck me as you were saying this. So yeah.
There are so many tools to be successful, and if you give them the tools, like, there's no reason why anyone should fail. It's really a matter of time and trial and error. And then, you will make it. You just have to do the work. And I think where we're going right now, we do a number of business with like Sphere. Social media is personally where I get a lot of my business. And then in addition to new construction that we're running, so different subdivisions, we've sold out one in Nampa, and then we're working on our next 3 right now. So between running, Sphere business and then running new construction, we just have a lot of homes that we're going to be selling right now.
So I'm going to ask you something. So you said there's no reason to not have success if you essentially lay out the goal and do the work. But where most people struggle is they get in their heads about that.
Yeah.
So how do you help your team? Because I know for you, it's like this natural thing to, okay, this is a hurdle. I'm going to learn. I'm going to overcome it. Like, I've learned something here. I'm going to move on. But I would imagine that you have team members that don't roll with it quite as easily as you do, right? Because a lot of people get, I don't know, I like to say like spun up in their head about things. So what do you do with your team to help them to keep moving forward when something doesn't go the way that they want it to?
So we do weekly meetings on Friday. I want to know what success they've had during the week. We have a book that we're reading. I pick the book because I know what it's going to teach people. And I want to know 3 things that they've learned through the week from these books. Because really, if you're getting into the routine of feeding your brain the positive, learning experiences, lessons, you're focusing on learning and getting better. So when you're continually, focusing on improving, that's all your brain's going to attract. And you're, essentially just focused on the positive and learning versus like, what are the things that you're struggling with and kind of getting stuck in the rut versus I'm learning something and how can I get better? So if you can train your brain to operate that way, like, you're going to look for the learning lessons versus, getting bummed out when things go wrong. It's how did this affect me and how can I learn to be better?
So the culture you've created is around that.
Yeah.
That's a really powerful thing. So, okay. So in our last episode, you talked a lot about where your son was. He's 2 years older now. So any mom lessons coming out of the last 2 years?
Yes, Leo is 6 right now, and he is just like me. He's my handsome handful, and we have 2 bosses in the house. And so really, like, culture, or I would just say catering towards his personality. And I mean, he's just, a 6-year-old boy that wants to ride dirt bikes all the time. And so I think for me in this phase that I'm at now is like slowing down to enjoy like quality time with Leo. I feel like I'm so grateful that I've built up a business and we can leave on the weekends because now I have a team and we've got buyer's agents and, an assistant that can do stuff. So I feel like I'm so grateful I got to this point because I can really enjoy my family. And for me, that's not something that was an option in the past. So I would say it's really exciting to get to this point, and I can really just enjoy my family and obviously still get things done. So.
And you've put in the work for it. Any tips in raising a boy between 4 and 6 for those moms out there that are listening?
I would say it goes by so fast. So just soak up every moment that you have because soon enough they're going to be back talking and, it's, just enjoy every phase. It's so different, from newborn to starting school and now they're going to be grown up and now we're going to be driving cars together. And I just say really enjoy the time that you have.
Okay, so the next question. Normally I will ask about the emotion of hitting 6 figures, but you did that a few years ago. You're in high 6 figures now. Has that shifted anything for you emotionally?
Honestly, this is so funny. It's now that I've reached these points of what I used to think were big amounts of money to me at the time, like there's different levels of like payroll that comes with these different items, like different goals. How can I get to that next one now that I've achieved this? Like now you've really felt what it feels like to get there. And I think where I want to go is I would like to have my own building someday, so it's just like reaching these next steps and like getting there. It's, not what I thought it would be. And so it's just funny, when we get to these points on paper, it feels like a lot to a lot of different people, but it's, there's people that, do 400 times of business, and it's just like making it a norm of, where do I want to go and what that's going to look like. So
What does that mean? It's not what I thought it would be.
just like I was 21 and I made a 6-figure income, and it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It wasn't all my problems away because I made 6 figures, because that's a lot of money to like my family at the time. So like reaching these levels and, owning a business, you have expenses with that. So it's, you didn't hit the jackpot when you make 100,000. It's not like that when you make, half a million.
Two and half a million, and I know you're going to hit over $1 million this year. Yeah. But I think it's interesting to talk about the emotion of that, because I think that a lot of people, and probably a lot of the women that are listening, assume, oh, when I get here, life will be different. Or,
Yeah.
oh, when I get here, like you said, all my problems are gone.
Yeah.
And that's not the case.
Destination
it's just,
happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just different. There's a lot of joy in the growth, though. It's been really fun to watch you grow, and thank you for doing this podcast with
Thank
me.
you. Yes.
Yeah, it's really fun. Last little tip. So books. You mentioned you have your team read books.
Yes.
So give some recommendations. What are books that you think people absolutely need to read?
I would say the book that we're reading right now is Rocket Fuel, because the quicker we can learn to adapt as a team and roles. I'm very keen on like roles, knowing what your lane is and operating at the highest level of what your tasks are. So Rocket Fuel is a really great book, and honestly as simple as just habits of highly effective people, getting into the routine of just really what do I need to get done throughout the day and how can I operate at the highest level. So I'd say those are my 2 top favorites for what we're reading right now.
Nice. I'll close on this. I was listening to a podcast, I think it was yesterday, it might have been the day before, and it was talking about choosing to be exceptional, and that it doesn't matter what you do in life, whether you're, a stay-at-home mom or a teacher or a business professional or running a business with others like you are. Making that decision that you are going to be exceptional at what you do changes the lives around you and changes the people in your life. And I would definitely say that that is the case for you. So
Well, thank
you for doing what you do. It's really fun to watch. Yeah.
And I'm grateful to know people like you too. I look up to you, and I'm really grateful to know you.
Thank you.